This meeting is being recorded and streamed via the Council website and Facebook. Good afternoon, councillors, staff and members of the public. Please be upstanding for our Mayor, Councillor Straub, to read the opening affirmation.
Thank you, Mr Fitzgerald. Council's opening affirmation is: we, the councillors of Loddon Shire, declare that we will carry out our duties in the best interests of our community and through collective leadership will maintain the highest standards of good governance.
The Loddon Shire Council acknowledges the traditional custodians of the land upon which we are meeting and pays its respects to elders, both past and present. Please be seated.
Thank you all and welcome to the October Council meeting. This is a fairly special meeting where Council adopts some very key strategic documents that we've been working on for the better part of the last 12 months. Welcome to all those live streaming this meeting and also welcome to our gallery here today in the Wedderburn Chamber. Thank you for your interests in council matters. Firstly, on our agenda today, we'll tick off our apologies, being there is no apologies for today's meeting, and ask if there is any conflicts of interest to declare from any council members. No conflicts to declare. Excellent. Thank you. We can keep moving along to 5.1, our confirmation of our minutes. We'll take those minutes as read, but open up for any questions, queries or comments regarding the minutes of previous. If there's none, I will ask for a councillor to please move that those minutes be true and correct. Thank you, Councillor Weaver. A councillor to second. Thank you, Councillor Angelo. A show of hands in favour, and those minutes are carried. Thank you. Moving along to 6.1, the record of Council's auspiced meetings, and I'll ask Mr Fitzgerald please to take us through those auspiced meetings.
Thank you, Mayor Straub. Councillors, the governance rules require a record of meetings conducted under the auspices of Council to be presented at the next available scheduled Council meeting for confirmation. Included within the agenda papers, you will see a record which includes which councillors and officers attended, a summary of the matters which were considered, as well as any conflicts of interest that were recorded. Councillors, the recommendation is that Council confirm the records of the following auspiced meetings as detailed within this report. 1. The councillor briefing held 23 September 2025. And 2. The Council Forum held on 14 October 2025. Thank you, Mayor Straub.
Thank you, Mr Fitzgerald. Any questions, councillors, regarding those auspiced meetings? If not, I'll ask for a show of hands. I'll ask for someone to move to those auspiced meetings. Thank you, Councillor Wilson. Councillor to second. Thank you, Councillor Angelo again. And now I'll ask for a show of hands in favour to those being. And that is carried. Thank you very much. 7.1, the review of actions, and I'll ask Mr Fitzgerald to take us through that review of action report, please.
Thank you, Mayor Straub. Councillors, attached to this report is a document containing the status of actions associated with council resolutions. There were no outstanding actions prior to the September 2025 Council meeting. The 5 actions arising from the September Council meeting resolutions have been completed, and the 1 action arising from the 6 October Special Council meeting resolution has also been completed. The recommendation is that Council receive and note the status of Council resolution actions as attached to this report. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr Fitzgerald. Councillors, any questions regarding the action sheet? If not, Councillor prepared to move. Thank you, Councillor Holt. Councillor to second. Thank you, Councillor Weaver. Show of hands in favour, and those actions are carried. Thank you very much, councillors. We can now move into our reports for this month, and I'll start with my mayoral report. I'll try and stay brief this month. There's been a lot going on, but a few things I did want to mention today that I've been involved with over the last month or so was back on the 9th of October. I attended along with other council representative, Councillor Mickey Wilson, to MAV State Conference on the 9th and then MAV State Council on the 10th. That was the first state conference and council I'd attended, and it was an interesting couple of days. MAV is very important as a peak body of local government, and Loddon definitely has a representation through Councillor Holt and Councillor Wilson, really leading the way there on all of those matters that we put to MAV, nonetheless being our current advocacy for the Emergency Services Volunteer Fund. So it was very important to go down and see the motion debate on the floor of council and see Loddon's motion be successfully adopted into the MAV advocacy documents as they move forward. That was a great weekend, and I'll leave the main body of the report to Councillor Wilson, who no doubt will touch a bit more detail in her report very shortly. Also, this month attended the the Midiamo Progress Association meeting held at the Midiamo Rec Reserve. Again, things are really positive in Midiamo at the moment. They're really moving forward with some of their projects that they've undertaken and that they've identified within their council plan, and are planning for a great Christmas celebration at this stage too. So we look forward to attending that in this December. A couple of other things I just wanted to touch on. As mentioned previously, Loddon has been very proactive in the Murray-Darling Basin Plan negotiations as part of our membership within the Murray River Group, but also, more importantly, for our Loddon irrigators as well. Loddon has been really at the forefront at communicating for our bigger irrigation sustainability work that we've been doing with our partner councils, and that has led us to meet with Minister Teeny in Echuca late last month, which I think I reported on, but a follow-up was to meet with a steering group committee made up of Shepparton City Council, VFF Water, the Goulburn Murray Irrigators Committee. There was North Central Catchment, I think, was involved, and the Shepparton Development Committee to talk about leveraging federal money that this state has been talking in regards to leveraging some of the money that's been put up for community benefit. We as Loddon and the Murray River Group, along with the state, are still opposing open market buybacks and don't agree with the plan as it currently sits. But there's an onus at the moment of trying to leverage some of the money available to benefit our communities. So it's been very positive to be involved in a stakeholders group to identify how that money is best spent within our communities, and what that sustainability or what sustainability projects, I should probably say, we can try and leverage that money for. Things that we definitely want to identify is economic growth. We want to make sure that we're identifying job losses are being created in those areas of high demand. We don't want to see jobs lost in Gunnawara, for instance, end up In Bendigo, we want to make sure that those jobs stay in those areas where they're lost, and part of that economic stimulus will help create job growth and make sure people have still got job opportunities to stay in the regions. There's a lot more to come on this piece of work, but that was one of the items I just wanted to discuss today, and bring the community a little bit more up to speed on what's happening there with that Murray-Darling Basin advocacy. We've been still very strong in opposing the open market buybacks, and we want to see some real thought put into how this federal money may be utilised to benefit our regions into the future, and that also incorporates a two-tier approach, or a two-tiered rollout of money, where we may not have identified areas that could be impacted now but may be identified into the future, and we want to make sure there's the benefits that can be put back into those communities when that happens in the coming years. I also this month just quickly wanted to touch on the board meeting we've had with the North Central LEN. As a council delegate, I sit on the board, as I've mentioned a number of times. Very important to Loddon to have that partnership to open up pathways for our youth. At the moment, we are again looking at forward contracts with the Department of Education, and unfortunately at this point the Department of Education is only prepared to offer 1-year contracts for that school to work program, which for us is very disappointing, but we are working very hard and closely to make sure we get the best benefit for our youth across our Loddon area and also our partnership areas of the North Central catchment, including Bull Oak and Northern Grampians and parts of Gunawarra as well. We don't want any student left behind, and we want to make sure that those networking opportunities are there for future employment as people graduate, leave school and look for local employment. Very, very important. I also this month, just very briefly met with Councillor Wilson and some community members in Inglewood to talk about their childcare study they're doing. I think from my point of view was a great meeting, just to get some feedback from the community on what their next steps are and what the Inglewood community are doing through the steering committee of the Inglewood Community Bank Board to really look at options that best suits their local township and community. To close out this month, I also attended the Loddon Healthy Minds Network in Boort on Thursday of last week. It was held at Boort District Health, and again another important committee that Loddon has a lead in networking with our mental health and health providing agencies to make sure no one in Loddon falls through the gaps, and that we're getting those programs delivered through the appropriate agencies into our community. Again, very important network. Later that afternoon, I joined an online meeting of Rural Councils Victoria. That was their annual general meeting to talk about, again, advocacy moving forward with Rural Councils Victoria, looking at the finances, which they've actually come a long way in being more financially sustainable at this point in time, which is good to hear. That means that the Rural Councils can deliver more programs and better advocacy for a lot of our key advocating points through the regional councils. And looking at what their priorities are, again, a big emphasis on Emergency Services Volunteer Fund, the tax, also other rural issues like road funding, as we talk about a lot, and financial sustainability of councils across the board. So there's some key meetings I've been involved with over the past month. There's always a lot going on, but those I thought were somewhat important to report on this month, and I will leave it there and look forward to reporting in the coming months as we round out this calendar year of 2025. Councillors, there's a motion on the books to accept and table my mayoral report. Is there a councillor prepared to move to that effect? Thank you, Councillor Angelo. A councillor to second? Thank you, Councillor Weaver. A show of hands in favour? And that is carried. Thank you very much. Councillors, we'll move on to our council reports now. And I will today start with Councillor Weaver, if you're right to go, Councillor. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's been a pretty busy month up in the north of the Shire. I had the honour of opening the Bort section of the Loddon Arts Trail. There was a weekend that was very well attended. Numbers were well up on last year. I think the portrait competition was a real hit because everyone knew the people in the paintings, and that went very well. Also had a great day at the Bort show. It was probably the biggest Bort show ever. A huge success, 150 trucks in the truck show. The new speed cheer event in the evening went very well, and most people said it was the best Bort show ever. I also attended the Brick AGM, where I had to give a little bit of a talk on what we're up to at Shire and chair their annual elections. And that was on the 20th of October. On the 6th of October, I chaired the elections at Bort Tourism and Development. I wish Bradley Hall all the best as a new chairman of Bort Tourism and Development Committee, and I think he'll go very well in the role. I've had very positive feedback on the footpath out the front of the IGA. The Shire's to be commended on their repair work there. It's made it a lot safer for people, and it's a very good job. And I think yesterday's bus tour with the executive of the Shire and other councillors was a very informative day, travelling the northern towns of the Shire, and showed some of the good work that's been done. So thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Weaver. And just touching on the Bort show, am I right in saying, Councillor, there was around 150 volunteers that came out to put on that day?
Yeah, that's correct, Mr. Mayor, and the Bort A&P Society should be commended on running the show and getting the volunteers organised, and it went very smoothly.
Excellent, thank you. No, we really appreciate our volunteerism across the Shire, and we really appreciate the efforts that all those individuals put in. I'm going to go to Councillor Wilson now, if Councillor Wilson's ready. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Yep, another busy month. Some of my regular monthly meetings with the IDTC and the Bold Bridgewater on Loddon Development AGM occurred. I was lucky enough to be at the Yuki Museum in Inglewood Arts Trail opening evening, which was very successful, and much to my husband's chagrin, managed to buy a piece of art. That's the third year in a row I've actually bought something. But in terms of October, on the 8th, I was lucky enough to attend the Seniors Festival at Wedderburn, which was just a fantastic event, and people up and dancing. The band was fantastic, and it was a great fun afternoon, and would put any nightclub or disco on notice in terms of the enthusiasm and dance moves of some of the dancers there. That evening on the 8th of October, I was part of a VicGrid webinar. Now, VicGrid being the Victorian State Government organisation that's overseeing the implementation of the transition plan. It was to introduce the community and stakeholders and whatever to the new community engagement guidelines that they've developed, which unfortunately are probably 3 or 4 years too late. Certainly in terms of the community consultation that's occurred with the VNI West process. But nonetheless, it is an effort to try and re-look at how the community is engaged. So I would encourage anybody who's involved in transition projects to look at the VicGrid guidelines, because they're very important. On the 9th and 10th, as the Mayor said, I attended the state conference and the state meeting of the Municipal Association of Victoria. On the Friday, I was part of reviewing and voting on as many as 76 motions that have been put forward by local government to put into the advocacy bowl of the MAV with a view to the state election that will occur next year. So there are areas that local government really want to see the MAV advocating for. On the 15th, I attended the Cure Women's Network dinner, which, if people don't know about that or are interested in going to this monthly Women's Network, it's terrific. We had police officer Nick Belaz from Bridgewater talking to us about safety, talking to us about how one of the problems we have in Loddon is that we leave our cars with keys in them and unlocked. And of the car robberies that we have, 100% of them, the keys or the car are unlocked. So it was a bit of a tip from him to lock your car. 16th was the Bold AGM. On the 17th of October, I was just delighted to go to the Inglewood Botanical Gardens. Who had ever heard of such a thing? I hadn't. But it's this amazing piece of land in Inglewood that has got an incredible history. Not least had a yacht on the pond in the Botanical Gardens in about 1914. And it's a community-led group to reinvigorate the Botanical Gardens. Very excited about that. The 22nd, as the Mayor said, joined the Inglewood Bank working group on childcare for a meeting with them to get an update on where they are with their feasibility study. And yesterday, the bus tour of Loddon Shire, which was a fantastic opportunity to be able to see the outcomes of council work and also to understand some of the risks and issues that the Loddon Shire has, which potentially you aren't necessarily privy to until you see them on the ground. So a fantastic month, all sorts of interesting activities, and keep on doing good things, Loddon. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Wilson. It has been a very busy month. I'm going to go across to Councillor Holt. If you've got a report at all, Councillor.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Look, I'd just like to say how pleased I am to be back at the council table after a 2-month absence, and thank you very much for granting me leave of absence. I've been back on deck now for a fortnight. I was seriously ill, and things didn't look too good there for a while, but my doctors at Bendigo Health are very, very confident that I'm in the process of returning to full health. So thank you very much for that. As a matter of fact, Mr. Mayor, last at the council forum a fortnight ago, when I was preparing to come to them, getting dressed and preparing to come to the meeting, I was actually quite excited. So you don't know what you've got until it's gone, and I realised how much I missed my role as being a Loddon Shire councillor, and I'm back more enthusiastic than ever. I have done a couple of things in the last fortnight. I did attend the annual general meeting of the Wedderburn Development Association / Community Planning Committee, and councillors, I would like to say that when we did our bus tour yesterday and you were able to witness some of the things we've achieved in Wedderburn, along with the councillors and the staff, I've been able to do that with tremendous support from that development group. I always said to them, don't waste your money, don't sweat the small stuff, concentrate on the big issues, and they've always gone along with that. And that's indicated, Mr. Mayor, by their commitment of almost 6 years of community planning money to the Wedderburn Reef Street Housing Estate project, which will enable us to do two things. It will enable us to start addressing the housing shortage problem in Wedderburn, and it also indicated just how forward-thinking they are in being supporting that project, but more importantly, their support will mean that the project will be cost neutral to council, and on our estimates we will probably return a profit. And speaking of which, I did attend their AGM last Wednesday, and can I congratulate some of our younger community members in Tammy Martin being elected as president again, and Kylie Turnbull being elected as secretary. It's great to see some different people and younger people taking on roles, and we did discuss earlier the challenges and risks to Loddon Shire of our changing demographic and the issues around volunteerism. And also, can I say, Mr Mayor, I too did enjoy the bus tour yesterday, and the thing that struck home to me is just how much it's sometimes difficult to believe the breadth of issues and services and community infrastructure that we deliver. Now, I know self-praise is no praise, so don't think I'm praising us, but what I am saying is that our communities look to me, big and small, to be in pretty good nick. And that's something that we've been able to do with, admittedly, outside of rate money, with government assistance as well. But I'm more confident than ever. There are so many positive indicators of what's happening around Loddon. And just one more thing I would like to comment on, Mr Mayor, is the results of the staff cultural survey. It's just a fantastic result for Loddon. My understanding of it is it's many faceted, but it's around staff feeling confident that they are supported in the work that they do, which is very, very important, and them having a positive attitude to their work, which produces better work outcomes. And I reckon it was just an unbelievable result that every one of the 79 councils in Victoria was surveyed, and Loddon came out number one. And that's a credit to all of our staff here involved, our leadership team, everybody here, to get a result like that. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Holt. Just to touch on a couple of those points, and great you raised the cultural survey. I didn't mention in my mayoral report, but I was very privileged to be able to attend the all-staff meeting in Serpentine a week and a bit back. And to touch on your comments, it was really pleasing and encouraging to see all of the staff together in one spot and mingling and networking and having conversations amongst themselves, to see how united the council staff are and why we achieve and deliver at such a high level. It was really good, and to be able to address the all staff meeting briefly before I left them to it, and to recognise those staff members that were receiving significant awards for their tenure here at Loddon is very special. 30 years, 10 years, 20 years to have a career here, I think is of that sort of length, is a testament to the organisation and how it's been run over those years. So great comments, and it is very pleasing to have you back, Councillor Holt, in the chamber. We are really pleased to see you up and about and looking well. I know all of the council group had been in constant communication with your leave of absence to make sure things were going okay and filling in the gaps where needed. And we wish you all the best for your recovery, but you're pretty well there as it is, and it's really good to have you back. Excellent. And our last councillor report today is Councillor Angelo.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. All right. So on the 20th of November, myself and the mayor attended the roadworks on the Newbridge Bendigo Road. I think that's Newbridge Kangaroo Flat Road. And what a great job the team's doing there on the repair, as well as those shoulders. People always comment about the shoulders on the sides of roads. Well, the team out there are doing a really good job, and I do believe that the day after we were there, they were doing the lime. Yeah, they were putting lime down as well to help the road stay as a road for a longer period of time. And I don't think it'll take too long for Loddon Shire residents and visitors to notice the improvement there. After that, myself and the Mayor went to Newbridge and did another video on the Newbridge Urban Improvement Strategy, which I do believe the A stage has started. So that's great to see that going on in Tarnagulla Ward. I also attended the bus trip yesterday. What a day, what an eye-opener. So much country, and great to have a look in other people's wards of what's been going on and what's been done. And I'll take my hat off to everyone involved with yesterday. And that's about it for me, Mr. Mayor. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Councillor Angelo. Everyone has been very active this last month. October seems to be about the busiest month on the calendar, and today is no exception, with a fairly big agenda with some pretty key documents. So in saying that, we better get into it, but firstly, can I please ask for a councillor to move those council reports, please? Thank you, Councillor Weaver. Councillor to second. Thank you, Councillor Angelo. Show of hands in favour, and they are carried. Thank you, councillors. We will jump into the main body of today's council meeting, and we have 7 decision reports today. We'll start with our first decision report, 10.1, the annual report for the year ending 30th of June 2025. And I'll ask Mr. Fitzgerald, please, to deliver the report and its recommendation.
Thank you, Mayor Straub. It gives me great pleasure to be able to present the annual report for the year 2024-2025. In accordance with sections 98, 99 and 100 of the Local Government Act, Council must prepare an annual report each financial year. The annual report serves as Council's primary reporting document to both the state government and the community. Although the production of the annual report is a statutory requirement, it also provides a very valuable opportunity to showcase the Council's performance and service delivery in relation to its activities over the previous financial year. The annual report that's presented today includes a report of the operations of Council, an audited performance statement, audited financial statements, a copy of the auditor's opinion on those performance statements, and a copy of the auditor's opinion on the financial statements. Councillors, I'm very pleased that you should note the auditor's opinion in there, and I read it to state as such. The performance statement of Loddon Shire Council in respect of the year ended 30 June 2025 presents fairly in all material aspects in accordance with the performance and reporting requirements of Part 4 of the Local Government Act 2020 and Local Government Regulations 2020. Further, the auditor provides that the financial report presents fairly in all material respects the financial position of the Council as at 30 June 2025 and their financial performance and cash flows for that year, then ended in accordance with the financial reporting requirements. And it goes on. So I'm very pleased to say that, councillors, this is represented as a fair and true record. The annual report outlines that Council has had a successful year in delivering its annual infrastructure program, welcoming new councillors and returning councillors, and providing over 37 different services to the community. Councillors, just a moment ago you mentioned the culture survey, and culture starts really with the people who are delivering the services, and I really need to thank the staff, the volunteers and the councillors who contributed to a very successful year at Loddon. Some of those details are included within the annual report. We can't put everything in there because it's already 200 pages, and you wouldn't thank me if I tried to put everything in there. However, there's some lovely photographs throughout the year. There's a really nice recognition of the volunteers upon whom we rely so heavily and thank. And there's some fantastic benchmarking and results by which the community can be reassured that we have performed well. The recommendation is that Council adopts the Loddon Shire Council Annual Report for the year ending 30 June 2025. Thank you, Mayor Straub.
Thank you, Mr Fitzgerald. Councillors, as noted, the annual report, a fairly comprehensive document. We've had a fairly good explanation from Mr Fitzgerald regarding the report and some of the overview. Is there any questions, queries or comments at this point in time? Councillor Wilson?
Just a comment. I think, it's a lot to read. I think if people are going to read it, you want to read the end of the report around the performance. But from page 37 on is a monthly description of achievements and activities by the council. And I think that's the first time the report has been written this way, where every month of the financial year, activities been detailed. And I think it's quite enlightening for people to look at that and actually see, as Councillor Holt detailed about the bus trip yesterday, the spread and depth of what a council gets up to is pretty interesting. And so that month by month report is I think, an excellent initiative in terms of development of the plan.
Thank you, Councillor Wilson. If no further questions, I'm going to ask a councillor prepared to move to the recommendation that Council adopts a Loddon Shire Council annual report for the year ending 30 June 2025. Thank you, Councillor Wilson. Councillor to second. Thank you, Councillor Weaver. Councillor Wilson, opportunity to speak to the motion.
No, thank you, Mayor.
Councillor Weaver? No. Any other councillor wishing to speak for? No one against. In that case, I'll ask for a show of hands in favour. And that is carried. Thank you, councillors. That is a very important document that council adopts every year, and it is a pretty good explanation of the activities over the past year. All right, moving right along to 10.2, the adoption of the Community Vision 2035 and the Council Plan 2025 to 2029. And this was a big piece of work. This is one of the most important documents that Council creates and adopts. We've done a lot of work on formulating this council plan, and it really has been driven by that community vision and that community reference group that have formulated the review of that vision. I'm going to hand to I'm going to hand to Mr. Fitzgerald, our CEO, to deliver the report and the recommendation, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Straub. The Loddon Shire Council is required to review its community vision and prepare and adopt both a 4-year council plan and a municipal public health and wellbeing plan. These strategic documents are mandated under the Local Government Act 2020 and the Public Health and Wellbeing Act 2008. These must be adopted by the 31st of October in the year following the general election. The draft council plan, which sets out the strategic direction for the organisation and what council seeks to achieve over the 4-year council term to work towards the Community Vision 2035. For the first time, the Municipal Public Health and Wellbeing Plan has been incorporated into the draft council plan. This allows us to build that into all business that we do. Through workshops with councillors, the Community Reference Group and Council's internal working group, a revised community vision was developed. And if you will, I'll read out the revised community vision. That is, thriving communities where everyone is welcome and all have the opportunity to live, work and create experiences. The council plan has been built around that community vision, and within the document you will see that it follows those 5 key themes of thriving, welcome, a place to live, a place to work and somewhere where you can experience. Each year, Council will develop an action plan to support delivery of the council plan within our resourcing capacity. So what are the different measures we can, or actions we can undertake to be able to deliver on the community's vision and the council plan? Councillors, this was placed on community display as well, and during the community consultation period, Council received feedback on the draft plan. The themes of this feedback were centred around supporting volunteers, mitigating the impact of UV light health hazards, and specific project ideas and recognition and support of First Nations people's outcomes. A de-identified summary of the feedback and any changes recommended since the draft document has been attached to this report for consideration. Workshops were undertaken throughout April, June, August and September 2025 to review the vision and council plan, and it really did help to inform the content of this document in addition to a large volume of existing adopted strategic work. I would like to thank the volunteers, particularly those on our community reference group. These are people who are community leaders within the Loddon Shire. They're already busy and they've taken a great deal of time out of their day to be able to attend a number of workshops and assist us with this work. I'd also like to thank the staff who contributed in preparing this report, which was done in-house. This plan was done in-house, not using external resources other than some graphic design. And also the councillors who were quite involved in a number of the workshops. The recommendation is that Council 1 adopt the Community Vision 2035 and Council Plan 2025 to 2029, incorporating the Municipal Public Health and Wellbeing Plan, and 2, writes to the Community Reference Group who contributed to the development of the document and individuals who provided feedback on the draft document to acknowledge their contributions. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr Fitzgerald. Councillors, we've spent a lot of time on this document. We do thank those volunteers involved from the Community Reference Group to help formulate the plan, and I also thank all councillors and staff involved in putting this plan together. Councillors, is there any questions at this point in time? Councillor Wilson?
Mayor, thank you. Not a question, a comment. I'm not too sure how many CEOs around councils in Victoria would take it upon themselves to personally lead this project. Mr Fitzgerald has taken it upon himself to lead the organisation, the community and the councillors through this process to ensure that we have ended up with a plan that's real, that we can be held to account to, and that is achievable. And that's no mean feat. So I'll say probably on behalf of the councillors, thank you, Lincoln, for driving this program and this process, because I think we've got a really good outcome. But I think without your imprimatur as CEO, we may not have got the outcome we have. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Wilson. Some very real and kind words there. Thank you, Mr Fitzgerald. Councillors, I'm going to ask if there is a councillor prepared to move to the two-part recommendation, if there was no further questions. Councillor Weaver to move? Yes, thank you. Is there a councillor prepared to second? Councillor Wilson, thank you very much. Councillor Weaver, opportunity to speak to the motion?
No, thanks. I think Councillor Wilson covered it very well. But just one thing is just that all the people in the community that that agreed to be on our community reference group, and just gives us a bit more depth. And I think it worked really well, so commendation to all.
Thank you, Councillor Weaver. Councillor Wilson, opportunity to speak? No? No? Excellent. Any other councillor wishing to speak for? No one against? I'll ask for sharp hands in favour. And that is carried. Thank you, councillors. That is a very important document to adopt. As I think we've mentioned in the past, this document is a mandatory obligation in the first year of a new council, and the cut-off date is 31 October. So we've scraped in, but we made a conscious decision to take our time and develop a very real, plausible document that we can, as Councillor Wilson mentioned, take accountability and ownership of. So that's very important. Thank you very much, councillors. I said that was carried. We'll move on to 10.3, the adoption of the financial plan. This is the 10-year financial plan, 25-26 through to 34-35. Mr. Fitzgerald, please, report and recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Straub. Councillors, you're hearing a lot from me today about legislative requirements. The 31st of October is a key date in the Local Government Act for quite a number of these, so please do bear with me. Councillors, Section 91 of the Local Government Act 2020 states that a council must develop, adopt and keep in force a financial plan. The financial plan is for a period of at least 10 financial years and must include statements describing the financial resources required to give effect to the council plan and other strategic documents, information about the decisions and assumptions that underpin the forecasts, and that's really critical in this plan because it's full of assumptions over a 10-year period, and we do our best to make those as accurate as possible. It must also include statements describing any other resource requirements that the council considers appropriate to include. Councillors, as you'll see in the plan, while council has a strong cash position due to its financial reserves and conservative budgeting, the plan identifies a number of significant challenges, with the projections underscoring the need for a change from the business as usual. Council will need to consider measures to increase revenue and or reduce expenditure to restore financial sustainability. This includes reviewing how services are delivered, exploring efficiencies and prioritising asset renewal. The plan also provides 12 actions to be completed in order to support the long-term sustainability and improved accuracy of our budgeting and forecasting. Council is asked to consider adopting this plan with the understanding that a further refresh will occur within 12 months, supported by early work on strategic actions to improve forecasts, refine the assumptions and set a clearer pathway towards long-term financial sustainability. This review has also been supported by the Loddon Shire Council's Audit and Risk Committee, who have provided robust feedback throughout the process. With the plan being released for consultation throughout September 2025, it is important to note that no feedback was received during this period to guide further changes to the plan itself. The recommendation, councillors, is that Council adopt the Financial Plan 2025-2026 to 2034-2035, and 2. Note a review date of the financial plan to be documented as occurring before 31 October 2026. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Fitzgerald. A lot of work again has gone into this financial plan, which, as mentioned, is the best forecast of what the financials may look like. Councillors, I'm going to ask if there was any questions, queries or comments regarding before I ask for a mover. Councillor Holt, do you have a question now, or? Yes, I thought you were looking at, yes, you've got a question, query or a comment.
No, Mr. Mayor, but when the motion is put before us to adopt this plan, I would like to speak to the motion.
No, thank you, Councillor Holt. I thought you were looking at me there for a time to speak, but in that case, if there's any other questions, queries or comments, if not, I'll ask for a councillor prepared to move to the recommendation. Thank you, Councillor Holt. Is there a councillor prepared to second? Thank you, Councillor Angelo. Councillor Holt, opportunity to speak to the motion.
Yes, thank you, Mr Mayor. Look, I've got a number of points to make about this, and I hope I can do that within my 3-minute limit. Look, first of all, this is a very, very important document, a difficult document to prepare, and can I congratulate the staff and Director Stedman's absent, ill today, but also Mr Fitzgerald, if you could pass on to her. My congratulations on the excellent work that corporate has done in producing this difficult document to produce. Look, I'd like to make a couple of comments, Mr Mayor, or a few comments, but in fact what the long-term financial plan says is that in 10 years' time, Loddon Shire is going to run out of cash. Now, I don't think that's accurate. But I do accept that the longer out you make financial predictions, or any predictions, the less accurate they will be. And certainly our 3-year budgeting is probably a far more valuable document. We haven't run out of cash for 30 years. I've been here for most of them, and while I'm still here, we won't be running out of cash, Mr Mayor. But what the plan is saying is that business as usual, we will run out of funds at Loddon. Business as usual. So it is very important, Mr Mayor, that we commence a conversation with our community about what we can do about that problem. Now, on the income side, it's very limited as to what we can do. We could apply for a rate variation, which for the benefit of our residents and ratepayers, that would be an application for our rates to rise by more than the rate cap, and that is something that could be considered. I suspect that our community may well be resistant to that, but we haven't tested that once they get an understanding of the problems we face. So we are left, Mr Mayor, with looking at our service delivery levels and service areas where we can reduce the level of service, or in fact delete the level of service. Now, we did start doing this. We did start this process with the work we did on the social infrastructure strategy, and that was probably an indicator to our community that we are serious about this, and that in fact we haven't got a choice according to the predictions of our long-term financial plan. We haven't got a choice. We've got to stop kicking the can down the road and start making some difficult decisions. It's also important to note, though, Mr Mayor, that in the delivery by Officer Southcombe earlier in the day, we were very pleased to be told that in fact our asset renewal gap is reducing, and there's some confidence that we can continue to reduce it. And if that's the case, that's an important factor in assuring the long-term financial viability of Loddon. So, and we're doing all this, Mr Mayor, based on Loddon Shire having the lowest rates in Victoria. So there's good news and challenges. I reckon Loddon Shire Council and our directors are up for the challenge, and I am very, very confident about the long-term viability not only of the Loddon Shire Council but of the people of Loddon and the Loddon economy, and how we're going across Loddon, and I think that was reinforced with our bus tour yesterday. So, Mr Mayor, whilst it's got some dire predictions, I think we're up to the challenge, and I've got no doubt that Loonshire will be financially viable in 10 years' time, and provided we continue to deliver sound budgeting, our future's assured. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Holt. Councillor Angelo, opportunity to speak to the motion.
No, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think Councillor Holt summed it up as quite eloquently. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor. Any councillors wishing to speak for? No councillors, or any councillors, I should say, wishing to speak against? Is there a show of hands in favour? And that is carried. Thank you very much, councillors. It's a very important document, and I think Councillor Holt makes some great points, and we thank, as mentioned, Director Steadman, who can't be with us today, for her efforts and her team efforts to deliver those finances for us. It's a very challenging document to put together. And we have, yes, in our gallery, we have our financial manager at the moment, Ange. Thank you for being with us today, and thank you for your work. All right, we'll keep moving along to 10.4, the adoption of our draft asset plan 2025, and I'll invite Director Van also, please, to deliver the report and its recommendation.
Thank you, Mayor Straub. I'm pleased to present the draft asset plan 2025 for Council's consideration. This plan has been developed in accordance with Section 92 of the Victorian Local Government Act 2020, which mandates the development and maintenance of a long-term asset plan following each general election. This plan outlines Council's strategic approach to managing infrastructure assets over the next 10 financial years. It reflects our ongoing commitment to sustainable and responsible asset management. The plan incorporates updated financial data, including increased Roads to Recovery funding, and integrates valuable feedback from recent community engagement. It consolidates information from all of Council's asset management plans and aligns with Council's broader strategic objectives, including the Community Vision and Council Plan. The Draft Asset Plan 2025 ensures Council's assets continue to support service delivery, economic growth and community wellbeing. Importantly, the renewal gap has decreased since the 2022 plan, demonstrating the positive impact of targeted investment and improved funding. The plan also identifies further opportunities to reduce this gap through grants and partnerships. Developed in alignment with Council's deliberative engagement practices, this plan supersedes the Asset Plan 2022. Accordingly, it is recommended that Council formally rescind the Asset Management Strategy 2011, which is no longer aligned with current legislative and strategic requirements. The recommendation before you is that Council 1. Adopt the Draft Asset Plan 2025, and 2. Rescind the Asset Management Strategy 2011. Thank you, Mayor Straub.
Thank you, Director Van also. Councillors, I'll first offer an opportunity to ask any late questions or any comments before I ask for a councillor prepared to move to the adoption of the asset plan. Is there a councillor prepared to move? Thank you, Councillor Angelo. Councillor prepared to second? Thank you, Councillor Weaver. Councillor Angelo, would you like the opportunity to speak to the motion?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. There's a lot of work gone into this document, a lot of relevant information, and it'll be good to see it all working the way it's supposed to. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Angelo. Councillor Weaver?
No, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, councillors. In that case, I'll ask if there are any further councillors wishing to speak for or against. I'll ask for a show of hands in favour. And that is carried. Thank you very much, councillors. A power of work has gone into that document, and it really spells out how Council will look at its assets and plan for the future over the years, and also noting that the document reflects that 91.7% funded over the next 10 years, which is a pretty important point to reflect on as we move forward. So we thank the team again for that. Moving along to 10.5, our Inclusive Communities Plan for adoption. And I'll ask Director Gladman, please, if you're right to deliver the report and recommendation.
Thank you, Mayor Straub. Councillors, today I bring the Loddon Shire Inclusive Communities Plan 2025 to 2029 for Council's consideration and adoption. This plan replaces the former Disability Access and Inclusion Plan 2018 to 2022 and expands Council's focus to include broader aspects of access, equity and participation across our community. It provides a framework to guide how we design and deliver services, programs, infrastructure and partnerships that make Loddon a more welcoming, accessible and connected place for everyone. The plan also supports Council's legislative responsibilities under the Disability Act 2006, the Equal Opportunity Act 2010, the Disability Discrimination Act 1992 and the Gender Equity Act 2020. The development of the plan has been strongly shaped by community input. We engaged with more than 230 residents and local organisations and received 10 submissions during the public exhibition period. Following feedback, Council requested further refinement of the plan, with the plan being further reviewed at the September Council Forum and briefing. The final plan now strengthens Council's role in promoting inclusion across all areas of community life. The implementation will occur through existing budgets and staff resources, supported by external funding and partnerships where appropriate. And the recommendation before you today is that Council adopt the Loddon Shire Inclusive Communities Plan 2025 to 2029. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Director Gladman. Councillors, I'll give an opportunity for any questions, queries or comments before I ask for a councillor prepared to move to the recommendation. Is there a councillor prepared to move? Thank you, Councillor Angelo. A councillor prepared to second? Thank you, Councillor Weaver. Councillor Angelo, would you like to speak to your motion?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think the little bit of extra work that we did on this document has gone a long way, in the sense that I feel everyone, no matter who you are or where you're from, you'd feel inclusive. So I think the team's done a really good job with this one. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Angelo. Councillor Weaver? No? Any councillor wishing to speak against? I'll ask for a show of hands in favour, and that is carried. Thank you, councillors. We'll keep moving along to 10.6, the adoption of our customer experience strategy, and I'll ask Mr. Fitzgerald, please, to deliver the report and recommendation.
Thank you, Mayor Straub. Councillors, a moment ago you adopted the Loddon Shire Council Plan, and included in there is Strategic Objective 4.2 that Loddon Shire will deliver exceptional service to the community with the action to provide positive customer experiences supported by high quality and efficient services, systems and processes. So we've said that's what we'll provide to the community, and this customer experience strategy has been developed with the community through a series of listening posts. It was presented to Council earlier this year, and then it was placed on public display for further feedback. While Council only received a small number of submissions, they have been considered, and most of the content within them is more aimed at the implementation stage. So that will be taken on board, but it hasn't resulted in a change to the strategy itself. Councillors, the strategy has a few strategic directions within it: enabled and accountable customer experiences. So when you work with us, we will be we'll enable you and we'll be accountable. accessible and inclusive, informed and analytical, and my favourite, contemporary yet traditional. So understanding that people still like face-to-face, people still like phones, they still like newsletters, different experiences for different people and different demographics within our community. So I feel like this strategy is very responsive to what the community has told us. Councillors, the recommendation here is that Council adopt the Customer Experience Strategy 2025 to 2029. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr Fitzgerald. We're privileged enough to have a good look at the strategy in our forum earlier this month, but I will open it up for any questions, queries or comments. If there's no questions, queries or comments, I'll ask if the councillor prepared to move. Thank you, Councillor Holt. Councillor Wilson to second. Thank you. Councillor Holt, would you like to speak to the motion?
Yeah, just briefly, Mr Mayor, I'd like to endorse the strategy. I'm not so sure as it's a strategy, actually. I see by the grin on Mr Fitzgerald's face that he may somewhat agree with me, but it is more or less a running commentary on what we do. But can I just say that we can engage with our communities in many ways, but my experience has always been, and it's time consuming, but the outcomes are many multiples of any other way of connecting and communicating with our community, and that's speaking to people directly about what we do and why we do it. And so regardless of what this strategy or list of what we do might say, I think that we always need to keep in mind the very time-consuming role of councillors and officers of taking the time to, as best we can and as clearly as we can, giving them explanations around the work we do and why we do it and when they have concerns about it. And if we don't know, we are upfront in saying, look, I will get back to you, and making sure that you do get back. You'll never substitute for that, Mr Mayor, but having said that, I'd like to support the strategy. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Holt. Councillor Wilson? No? Any other councillor wishing to speak for or against? I'll ask for a show of hands in favour, and that is carried. Thank you, councillors. We'll move right along to 10.7, the Little Lake Boort Foreshore Recreation Project Funding Opportunity. And I'll ask Director Gladman, please, to deliver the report and the recommendation.
Thank you, Mayor Straub. Councillors, this report seeks your endorsement to submit applications to the 2025-26 Local Sports Infrastructure Fund to help progress key elements of the Little Lake Boort Foreshore Recreation Precinct Master Plan. The Little Lake Boort Foreshore project has been a long-term community and council partnership since it was first endorsed in 2020. It continues to be a priority project for both council and the community and aims to enhance recreation, accessibility and connection around the Boort Foreshore. Over the past few years, we've worked through planning, design and community consultation to build a clear vision for this precinct, and the opening of the Local Sports Infrastructure Fund provides us with an opportunity to build on that progress. The program has 3 funding streams: community facilities, community lighting and planning, and we're proposing to apply under each stream to support specific components of the Boort project, including a skate park or pump park, lighting upgrades for 2 courts at the Boort Tennis Club, and planning and design work for new accessible amenities at the Boort Croquet Club. Each of these elements aligns with the broader precinct master plan and will deliver tangible community benefits, particularly for young people, families and local sporting clubs. The funding requires a 3-to-1 council co-contribution, and it is proposed that the co-contribution be met from existing project funds that have already been allocated to this project. This approach allows council to leverage up to $790,000 across the 3 funding streams in external funding. The report provides councillors with information on the consultation that has taken place, both through the master plan process and directly with the Boort Tennis and Croquet clubs, as well as some early discussions with Sport and Recreation Victoria to seek guidance on eligibility and the application process. The recommendation before you today is that Council endorse submission of applications to each of the 3 available categories of the 2025-2026 Local Sports Infrastructure Fund to support the progression and delivery of the Little Lake Port Foreshore Recreation Precinct Master Plan as outlined in this report. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Director Gladman. Councillors, any questions, queries? Councillor Holt with a question.
Thanks, Mr Mayor, and what a great outcome this will be for Board if we can secure this funding to enable us, I believe, Mrs Gladman, to deliver this plan in full.
So that would deliver those 3 components in full, Councillor Holt.
And how much is left in terms of components?
Yes.
Is there still a huge cost to go?
Yes, so there is some work around parking, footpaths, so connection footpaths, parking around the rear of the bowling club and the tennis courts. It would do the design work for the croquet club that would allow us to then apply for future funding. While we were doing the review of that area, we also included a review of the swimming pool precinct, which would sit outside of the community project. That's some council work as well. There's also, we're looking to develop up some events space as well, and also to do some traffic flow management around what was the old fire brigade training track and the back of the swimming pool to make it easier, safer for patrons in that area.
So you've grown the original scope of the plan?
No, the existing master plan is still within the scope. What we did do was, whilst we were doing the planning of that space, we did incorporate the pool. That was some work that council was doing, and so it was actually provided cost benefit to do that work at the same time. But the precinct master plan was for the bowling club, which was stage 1, the skate park, pump park, tennis courts, the croquet club and the connections in that space, parking, walking trail connections and traffic flow.
Yeah, thanks, Mrs Gladman. Can I say I really do hope we're able to secure funding and deliver this tremendous project for Board. I've just got one more question, Mr Gladman. Can you give me the modern definition of a skate park?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Through you, Mr Mayor. Councillor Holt, there are all types of versions of skate parks and pump parks that are out there. So your traditional skate park would be things where you've got potentially a platform at the top and maybe a half loop or some areas where people would ride a skateboard of sorts. A pump park is one where it's generally more like a scooter or a younger person's wheel device, and it could be a small pedal bike, and they would ride around an undulating track that doesn't have those sharper variations. So we're looking at something that would potentially be a combination of both, so that we can actually attract from young to an older age group.
Councillor Weaver could take his Honda 50 in there and have a go.
I've still got one.
Thank you. Thank you, Mrs Gladman.
Thank you, Councillor Holt, and thank you, Director Gladman, for those explanations and definitions. Councillors, we got a mover to this. Thank you, Councillor Weaver. Councillor prepared to second.
Yes.
Thank you, Councillor Holt. Councillor Weaver, would you like the opportunity to speak to this?
I'd just like to congratulate Director Gladman and her team on the work they've done in this. It's certainly an exciting project for the community of Boort, and I'm sure that a lot of people from all over Loddon do day trips to Boort, to the lake in the summer, and everyone in the Shire will at times be able to benefit from this project. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Weaver. Councillor Holt?
No, Mr Mayor, I've already outlined my support for what is a fantastic Loddon Shire project.
Thank you. Opportunity for any other councillors wishing to speak for or against? If not, a show of hands in favour. That is carried. Thank you, councillors. And this Boort Foreshore Recreation project has been a bit of a legacy project too from our previous Councillor Beattie, and there's a lot of work in the staging of this, and it will be a very positive asset and attribute to the Boort community, but benefited by a lot of people from our shire and obviously a lot of visitors too. So let's wish you all the success in the grant applications. Councillors, we don't have any information reports today, but we do have one compliance report to consider. 12.1 is the Audit and Risk Committee update, and I'll ask Mr Fitzgerald please to deliver the update report and recommendation along with it.
Thank you, Mayor Straub. Councillors, this report is a requirement of the Audit and Risk Committee Charter. It says that a summary of each Audit and Risk Committee meeting will be reported at the next meeting of the Council. Included within this report is a summary of the Audit and Risk Committee meeting held online Monday the 29th of September 2025. As you will see, it was primarily around the Audit and Risk Committee reviewing the financial and performance statements for the year ended 30th of June, at which they provided some really fantastic feedback and enabled it to progress through to the Council for consideration. The recommendation is that Council receives and notes the summary of the Audit and Risk Committee meeting held on the 29th of September 2025. Thank you, Mayor Straub.
Thank you, Mr Fitzgerald. Councillors, any questions? If not, I'll ask if there's a councillor prepared to move to the Audit and Risk Committee meeting update held in September. Thank you, Councillor Holt. A councillor to second. Thank you, Councillor Weaver. Councillor Holt, would you like the opportunity to speak? No. Councillor Weaver? No. Any other councillor wishing to speak for or against? I'll ask for a show of hands in favour, and that is carried. Thank you, councillors. Moving on, we're coming to the end of today's open council meeting. Councillors, there is no matters have been submitted of urgent business. Likewise, there is no confidential items for consideration today. So, councillors, in saying that, I thank all very much for their time today. I thank the gallery and the community that have tuned in on our online stream. This was a very important meeting. October meeting is always quite important. And I can now declare today's meeting closed at 4:18 p.m. Thank you all very, very much.